Folks, there was one fan that, when news broke about the information that was, I guess you say, leaked or talked about at a convention, the Pony Radio convention in Russia, about the movie, there were several people, if not several fans, I believe, that started making predictions of how this was all going to come about. Well, like I said, out of respect for what this show, this franchise has done over the past 6 years, and out of nostalgic, out of nostalgia for the fact that if it wasn't for G1, there wouldn't be in the foundation. We wouldn't be where we are with the show and in the movie. Let me, I guess, kind of give my predictions of what I feel is going to happen. Now, one of the things primarily we read about this is the characters are going to go through several transformations. They're going to become other creatures. Are going to transform into other creatures. Now, we kind of know that they can do that. I mean, there was an episode. I don't know what season it was, but there was an episode, from what I understand, where they turned into these little like fairies, if you will, to kind of help the same kind of fairy or whatever, or something like that. I don't really know. So we know it's possible. We know it's possible. But here's what I think should happen. If you're going to have them turn into several creatures during a portion, again, they don't, like I said in that one video, they don't say what portion, whether it's a small portion, large portion, we don't know. But if you're going to have them turn into several creatures, I think they need to temporarily, if they're going to go on a journey across all of Equestria, if not beyond Equestria. I mean, you already gave us an idea of a dragon land, basically, where what's this new character's name? Ember, Princess Ember, the Dragoness Lord, or the new Dragon Lord, or Dragoness Lord, whatever, or Dragon Empress now. I don't know. Presides, and to me, I think you need to have them turn into one of the creatures that you need to have them turn into is dragons. You need to have them turn into dragons. There's no doubt about it. Because I think this will help solve one problem. You see, when I mentioned at the end of my previous video before this, is the one thing that got me to become a fan of respect is the whole Spike rarity deal. And I think this would be I think this would be the best opportunity to continue to address that situation. Because if you have the main six turn into dragons, which will probably be about the same size as Ember, or Ember, if you will. That's her name, Ember. If you have them become the same size as her, maybe the same size as Spike, I don't know. Maybe you're going to make Spike grow and become the same size as Ember, I don't know, for the movie. But if you do that, I think it needs to be addressed about Rarity and Spike, because now Spike will see her as a dragon, and maybe that's going to spark something. And then when you go through transformations, and of course you got to get Spike involved with the transformations as well, you got to have him, in exchange for that, get turned into a pony, and maybe have some kind of an attraction there between Rarity and him when he's in pony form. I think that's what needs to happen, especially when it comes to these transformations. Now, if you're looking at elemental transformations as well into other creatures, then you definitely got to give them elemental transformations of becoming, different parts of the element. Like, the Rainbow Dash would be perfect. Give her the element of wind. Have her be able to turn into a wind-like creature that blends in. Like, here you see her, now you don't. You're wondering where she is, and you could hear her voice saying, "Hey," acknowledging that she's there, but she's like she's everywhere now because she's part of the wind. She's part of the wind. She with this elemental transformation, something like that. But I think that's what needs to happen with those transformations in the film. I think you need um, I think you need to go in that direction, especially addressing the Rarity Spike situation. Which, getting to that, I think that has to be addressed, not just with them possibly turning into a dragon, a female dragon for like with Rarity, and then in exchange into a boy pony, a male pony for Spike. I think what needs to be addressed as well is you either got is if you're Hasbro, there's an old saying, and that is it's either time to get, and that old saying is for Hasbro to get off the pot is to either is it to I don't want to use language here, but it's to either go or get off the pot. Go if you have to go, or get off the pot. In other words, if you're Hasbro and you possibly do this with the movie because of these transformations for a portion of it, then you have to finally address this. You have to either go frontal, easy for me to say. You either have to go frontal with this, basically dive into it, make it official, or just let them be friends or just let them continuously be friends. Make some kind of reasoning. Go do something in this movie that addresses that situation. Because being a movie, sometimes you have to address something. You have to finalize something. You have to make it happen, right there at that moment. You have to make it official. And to me, they need to finally address this. Because when you have Rarity, Spike helping Rarity in a recent episode, and one of the reasons he's doing it is to be her bodyguard, which she kind of, I guess, asked him to be, even though he's the basket holder, but he has to say, hey, wait a minute, I thought you said I was your bodyguard. And she has to correct herself and go like, oh, yes, that too. The thing to me is you need to get this done. You need to make this happen. I mean, you have Rarity. I mean, that one episode, from what I read, you have Rarity freaking worried about Spike going almost on his own to this Dragon Kingdom, Dragonland, whatever. I mean, let's go back several episodes ago with Spike in another episode. You had him focused on there, and you had Rarity worried about him there. You take a look at the episode, what is it called? Secret of My Excess or something like that? You have him somewhat confess, and she knows, she tears up. I mean, come on. This is the opportunity in the movie where it needs to be addressed, and the transformation scene, whenever it happens, has to be a reason. Well, it has to be one of the primary startup points for it. Have her turn temporarily into a dragon, get something going there, and then in turn, have something happen when he gets temporarily turned into a pony. I know that's saying a lot of something that may or may not happen, but I think the movie's the right time to address it. You need to make it official. You need to. Now, as far as what else I believe could happen here, I think, in a sense, you're going to have two big names, if not several big names or semi-big names, connected to this movie as voices for new characters. Kristen Chenoweth is one of them. So if you're going to have that, they better have some big roles, if not semi-big roles, that help impact the story. And in the long run, I think there's also got to be something that comes out of it. And what I mean by something that comes out of it, to me, I think this movie is going to be the ultimate proving ground for Twilight. I really do. It's going to be the ultimate proving ground for Twilight and the main six, maybe seven. Who knows? Mainly the main six. But it's going to be a proving ground for her. It's going to be a proving ground. It really is. Now, there was an indication that they're going to go through some changes. We don't know what those changes are yet. Could it be a change in the status quo? Could a member of the main six be leaving and a new member comes in? We don't know. But to me, this is going to be the ultimate proving ground for Twilight, because even though she's a princess, this is the one that I believe, I truly, truly believe is going to put her, is either going to make or break her in this category. You see, you look at Luna and Celestia, and I think even Candace, even though she's not as big. But you take a look at Celestia and Luna, and you see that they're probably the biggest ponies, right? They're basically like goddesses. So, to me, when you take a look at them, you pretty much wonder, well, were they ever like Twilight? And I think that's what this movie may also explore. Is it'll somewhat, either it's at the beginning, whether it's in the middle of the film, we don't know. I've got a feeling it's going to explore more of the history of how Luna and Celestia came to be as they are now. It's going to explore that. And to me, this is going to open the door for possibly Twilight ascending to that level that they're at. This, to me, this journey, this movie, is going to be that moment where she takes that next step, if you will. Now, what that could mean is someone will have to take her place if she ends up because of this journey, ends up ascending to that next level as, like that Celestia and Luna are at. So, to me, this movie is going to be that ultimate proving ground for her to possibly ascend to that ultimate goddess-like level that Celestia and Luna are at. That's what I think is going to happen. And I think that's what indicates the changes, some of the changes that we go through. I think that's an indication there. Now, you might say, well, now I know you're thinking, well, if that happens, who would take her place? Well, you see, to me, I think if they were to choose someone to take her place, it's being built up right now. Unless they throw us a curveball in this season, it's being built up right now that star-like Glimmer is going to be the one that takes Twilight's place. Should this movie prove to be the ultimate proving ground for Twilight and allows her in the end to ascend to that goddess-like level, evolve into the same statuesque-like ponies that Luna and Celestia are, and then move on to that next chapter. To me, that's exactly what this is going to do. I have a feeling. I really do. I'm not saying that my prediction is going to come true. I just feel that it's going to be 7 years since the series debuted. You've been building up to something big, obviously with Twilight. So to me, this would be the ultimate opportunity to accomplish that goal. I think this would be the ultimate proving ground for her. Now, in the end, I think what it's also going to do, and this goes back to my other audio video uh, that I did before the previous one, basically 2 audio videos ago, where I talked about how the main six, the rest of the main six, are going to become princesses, not just one. I think that's where another change is going to come in. I think the rest of the main six, and that being Applejack, Rarity, not Twilight, but okay, that being Rainbow Dash, Pinkie Pie, Applejack, Rarity, Fluttershy. I think that's what it is. Rainbow Dash, Pinkie Pie, Rarity, Fluttershy, Applejack. Yeah. Yeah, let's see. Rainbow Dash, Rarity, Pinkie Pie. You see. Fluttershy, Applejack. Yeah, Pinkie Pie, Rarity, Rainbow Dash, Fluttershy, Applejack. Yeah, just making sure I count right there. Making sure I count. I have the correct number, if you will. But like I said, to me, I think the other major change is they are going to become princesses themselves. I know that's hard to believe. They're going to become princesses themselves, or if that's not the case, they'll at least become alicorns. I think that's what's going to happen. You're going to have Rainbow Dash get a horn that's making her an alicorn. You're going to have Rarity gain wings. You're going to have Fluttershy gain a horn. And you're going to have Applejack and Pinkie Pie go through the biggest transformations because they're going to be gaining a horns and wings for the first time, in their lives. So even if they don't become princesses, I do see them, at least it's gaining these new abilities of being alicorns. I really do. Now the question will be though, if Twilight moves on, and I think the same is going to be said for Starlight Glimmer, because if she gets brought into the fray, I'm not saying she will or not. The question's going to be who becomes leader. Because we all know Twilight, basically, let's face it, she's a princess, but she's the leader of the group. She's the leader. So the question's going to be who takes her place in that leadership role. Who becomes the one that will be like the next in line to follow in her footsteps. And now some might say it could be Starlight Glimmer, which is a good choice, because like I said earlier, they're building upon that now unless they throw us a curveball. But I also think, in a sense, it's going to be the most unlikely candidate out of the original main six. I think it's going to be someone you're going to least expect. In my prediction, quite honestly, it's going to surprise you. Because as much as I like Rarity, I think it's going to end up being, in my opinion, I know you're going to think, oh, he's going to say Pinkie Pie, right? Because that would be the unexpected. It could be Pinkie Pie. It could be. But I think, honestly, it's going to be Applejack. I really do. I really think that if this movie is the last hurrah for Twilight's character as a primary character. Yeah, she'll still be around. She'll still be on the show. But she'll be like in that same level, that same, that same goddess-like level that Luna and Celestia are in. Well, now they're just, she's going to be with them now. And she's going to, like Celestia and Luna, she's going to use the powers and everything she has to help out and help out when needed, and help guide those in need or those that need help. So to me, I think the most likely candidate is going to be Applejack. I really do. Because you could pretty much, in a sense, see that she's the kind that would be the one to come out of nowhere. Now, will it be predictable as far as the movie goes? I can't really say if it would be predictable, but I believe in my predictions. If they decide to go in that direction and have Twilight hand off leadership, if you will, to someone, it's going to be Applejack. I really do. Now, I know some of you may say, well, Brian, we won't know that till the movie comes out. We won't know unless we see a teaser trailer, which I guarantee you'll get at San Diego Comic-Con this year. I almost feel that. But you won't know until we get a bit bigger synopsis, right? Well, we got a plot. We kind of got an idea of what the plot's going to be like. But again, honestly, if you have the people at Hasbro talking about the movie saying this is going to happen and that's going to happen and da, then I truly believe that this could be, not saying it would be, not saying it will, because again, these are just predictions, and they could not come true. And these are predictions that, that could be totally untrue. They could not come true. But if they go in a direction that I feel they can end up going in with this movie, and Twilight ends up ascending to that goddess level of Luna and Celestia, to her just like them, she has to watch, just like them, she watches upon from her castle or whatever. And that's primarily where she'll be staying, just like they will. Or she's with them. I can't say exactly what they will do. Then the choice is going to be made of who takes her place somewhat in that leadership role. As the one that takes down notes, writes letters, does this, does that. And I believe, in my opinion, it's going to be Applejack. I feel that's who's going to get that opportunity. Now, again, with that said, you'll probably be wondering, well, who would take her place in the main six? Who would fill that void? And again, unless they're going to throw us a curveball, it's going to be Starlight Glimmer. We pretty much know that for a fact. But to me, my prediction is something like that in that category, and I'm sorry I took long talking about it, but my prediction is something like that, and that's that kind of situation, that kind of moment. I feel in my prediction, my opinion, which may or may not come true, that's possibly what they're going to end up doing. That's possibly the direction they're going to end up going with Twilight's character. Because to me, like I said earlier, this story is going to be the ultimate proving ground for her. There's no doubt about it. It's going to be the ultimate proving ground. And that ultimate proving ground is going to be whether or not she's ready to ascend to the level of Celestia and Luna. That's what I believe it's going to be. And again, I also believe we're going to get an origin somewhere in between this of how Luna and Celestia came to be the goddesses, the beings that they are. So I do expect that. And again, excuse me. I do expect and hope that they address spike in rarity, and they use the transformations to address that. I hope with the various transformations that the ponies go through, one of them is dragon, and she becomes a dragon. I hope if Spike gets involved in the transformations, one of them that he goes through is that of a pony. You have to address that, and I think that's a fact. And I think anybody watching would agree with it. So, with that said, I know another question is, will there be any romance? I don't really know if there will be romance in this film. There might be. I can't really say. I know a lot of people might say, well, that goes against what the show is currently about. And that might be. But to me, if there's any romance that's going to be introduced, it's going to be very subtle. And I think the only romance I think that might be brought to the forefront is going to be the possible one finally being recognized and officialized, if it happens, between Rarity and Spike. Now, another prediction I see happening is it talks about how they have to go beyond Equestria. they're going to meet the Sea Ponies, this incarnation of the Sea Ponies, which I believe Christine Chenoweth is going to be the voice of one of them. At least one. At least I would say the primary Sea Pony that's going to be, you know, like going to be like the Twilight of the group. Twilight is basically is going to be the primary character that helps the main six out throughout the film. So that's why I believe she might come into play. So yeah, we know about the Sea Ponies, but we know they have to go beyond into other areas and lands. I do know that I not know, but I do believe that we'll see Princess Ember in here, or Ember. We'll see Princess Ember here. She'll help them. But I also have a feeling. I don't know why, but I got a feeling they're going to end up meeting this incarnation, this generation's version of Megan. Yeah. That's what I believe is going to happen. You know, they talk about all this evil and baddies coming together, doing all that. It's going to get to a point that if they have to go beyond Equestria, they may have to go beyond Equestria into the land of humans. And we're not talking, oh, the Equestria girl humans. No. We're talking G1 like. And when I'm talking G1 like, I'm talking, I've got a feeling this is going to lead to them, the main six, at least Twilight. Just like I think her previous incarnation, G1 version, meeting Megan, this version of Megan for the first time. And that could be another role Christine Chenoweth plays. I can't really say. You know, I can't really say if that's another role she'll play. But I will say this. You know, if it is another role she plays, or if that is the role she plays of maybe this incarnation of Megan, then that'd be nice to see. But we'll have to wait and see what they do. But the thing to me is, the thing to me is, you know, again, the thing to me is, what, excuse me, if you're cross-referencing and seeing all previous generations of the Pony franchise, then this is definitely one you got to get at. This is definitely one you got to look at and look into. And to me, it's probably the best option you're going to get. I really do. I think it's going to be the best option you're going to get for Christine Chenoweth to possibly show up in. Now, I'm looking on here. Here we go. Hold on for a sec. I know I sounded like I rambled there, but I do apologize. Emily Blunt. Yeah. So, I look at it this way. Christine Chenoweth, I believe, like I mentioned earlier, will probably do one of the voices for one of the primary, if not the primary Sea Pony that gets featured the most. And Emily Blunt, I believe, could end up being that incarnation of Megan. Now, it could be the other way around. But my point is this. You know, you're cross-referencing all the My Little Pony franchises throughout the series and stuff. This is probably, like I was rambling on there a bit for a minute, and I do apologize. This is probably the best opportunity, the best option they got with a G4 version of Megan. Because let's be honest, you cannot do this show and cross-reference other generations without possibly bringing in a character from Generation 1 that, whether you like it or not, whether you want to admit it or not, was sort of a semi-major character in the original series. So, again, that could be where Emily Blunt comes in as a character. It could be where Christine Chenoweth comes in. We don't know. They're saying they will. It says, according to Wikipedia, they will voice original characters. Who's to say these won't be original incarnations of this generation's Megan or a generation of a sea pony? We don't know. But my prediction on this, getting back to it, is I believe one of the destinations they're going to have to go beyond, or at least maybe Twilight's going to have to go beyond, sort of reference the pilot in the movie, is to that human world, the non-equestrial girl human world, and probably befriend Megan and probably bring her over to help them with the threat that's going to basically to help stop the threat that looms over the hometown of Ponyville and Equestria. So, to me, and again, I do apologize for rambling a little bit earlier, to me, that's what I feel they're going to probably do. Because if they go beyond Equestria, there's one of your places they're going to go beyond to. I really do feel that's going to happen. So, that overall is my predictions for the movie and what I feel could come out of it. I know a lot of you have your own predictions, your own thoughts. So let me know what you think down below. Again, I did this out of respect for what this franchise, this portion, for what this franchise in its current generation, current form has done. And I'm also doing it out of nostalgia for what I grew up on. So, let me know what you guys think down below. Comment if you like. Do some responses if you want to. Huey Toonmore, Logan, I'd like to hear what you have to say. What are your predictions? And I'll talk to y'all later. Take your time in listening to this, and I am out.